Okay. Our next topic is the pure line selection. In the last video lecture, we have talked about the mass selection method in the plant breeding. Now, the second method we are going to understand is the pure line selection. Now, you should understand there is some fundamental and the basic differences between the mass selection and the pure line selection. Okay. Majority of the time UPSC will directly ask you what are the different types of this selection, okay, but sometime it may go for the differences between the different types of this selection which we are going to do in the plant breeding methods, okay. So that is why it become important for you to note down what are the basic difference between the pure line selection and the mass selection, okay. Now consider we are dealing with the paper number 2 and the chapter number 3, that is plant breeding, biotechnology and the biostatistics, and we are here at the selection, right? Now consider the first introductory slide. See the this particular method of the pure line selection. It depends on the knowledge that is continued selfing of the heterozygous individual or a population of the self-pollinated species that will result in the increasing proportion of a subsequent population becoming the homozygous. Now this paragraph is very important, and the many much of the meaning of the pure line selection is given out in this particular paragraph. Here you should understand first, when we take the population for the selection, there is a much of the heterozygosity in that, okay. So heterozygous nature of the population is there at the beginning of the selection. For example, take for matter we have selected the 5 plants, okay. So we have selected 5 plants here, and out of these 5 plants we want to create the pure line, okay. And the pure line literally means all the genetic character of that particular plant species are very unique, and all of the plant species just possess that same genetic unit, because at the genetic level we know the genes play a very important role. When the particular genes express themselves, these expression will result in the desirable character or even the non-desirable characters as well. So of course we always need the genes which are expressing themselves and converting into the desirable characters. So whatever the genes which are important from the human point of view, that genes are should only be present in the final population of the plants, and this is the very aim of the pure line selection, because in the pure line selection we purify the genes, okay, but just by observing them morphologically. For example, we have randomly selected 5 plants here. Now these are 5 plants are showing some of the promising or the desirable characters, and there are some plants which are not even showing, there are some characters which are not showing much of the desirability. So we want to eliminate those characters which are not useful for the human being, and we want to retain those characters which are very useful or beneficial for the humankind point of view. So basically these are 5 plants are there, and some of the characters in these 5 plants are bad, some are very useful. So for example, if you start to self cross these plants, you will come to know there is another generation which is created in the F1 generation, and the out of these 5 plants, the 3 plants are showing the promise, but not these 2 plants, okay. So the desirable genes were got transferred to these 3 plants only. So 2, 3, and 4, these are plants we will again self-pollinate these plants so that there will not be any new genetic combination. Only the genetic combination is coming from these 2, 3, and the 4th plant. So finally, we have here the 2 plants only which are showing the desirable characters, all of the desirable characters which are present in all of these 5 plants. Then after subsequent selfing of these plants, finally we have created the species which is showing all the desirable characters of all of these 5 plants. So you can say now the all the desirable character which are found in the variability in the heterozygosity, now it is all found in the single plant species. And now this single plant species, upon its selfing, we can create the many plant species of this pure line. So basically we have created the final population which is having a very unique genetic combination, and all are similar on the genetic lines. Hence we have converted the heterozygous plants into the homozygous plants, okay. Basically all of the 5 plants which are created at last through the selfing process, these are having the very common genes, okay, all of them possessing very common genes, and no variability can be seen into this final group, and hence we say this group is the homozygous group. While at the beginning, whatever the 5 plants we have used, these are 5 plants individually, they were having some good characters, and they were also possessing some bad characters as well. So through the self-pollination process, through the subsequent generations, we have selected among these plants such a plants which are showing the good genetic character. Till we have done this selfing process, till there the formation of the unified genetic composition. The very genetics of these plants are very unique at last. Consider from this picture, for example, here we have the two parents, okay? The very first parent is shown in the black dots, while the other parent is shown in one with the black dot and one with the red dot. Now understand these dots as a genetic characters, and the black dots are not genetically useful for the human being. That is, their expression is not desirable. We have the three dots here, so three genes are there which are not very useful for the humans, but there is a one red dot which is very useful from the human point of view. Okay, now see, when the cross is happen between them, what will happen after the cross? There will be the different genetic combinations. Okay, so you will see in the three plants, you will have this red dot gene. So red dot gene is available in the three plants now. Earlier it was available in the one plant only. Now we will disregard this because total black is not desirable. Okay, so we will again cross these plants with each other to have all the red in the one. Okay, so in the result, what we have again is the one black dot, one red dot, one black dot, one red dot. So 50% good characters and 50% bad characters are there in this particular plant, and same situation is found in the other plant because one black and one red dot is there. Now again we will self cross these plants with each other to create finally a species which having both the genes which are very useful from the human point of view. So in this way, we have here created the final product, which is very useful from the human point of view. And now we are going to self-pollinate this particular plant so that these genes will always be remain into that plant. Okay, and there should not be any new genetic combinations are required into this particular species. Hence, we will strictly avoid the cross-pollination. So whatever the characters are here, these characters should get preserved, and these character should get reproduced through the self pollination only, so that many more plants can be created with the these genetic composition. For example, the two red dots should be present in all of the plants, which is showing that the all plants are desirable plants. So finally, we have created the homozygous population here, while at the beginning we had the heterozygous population. Okay, so in this way we can create the pure line for any plant. In the plant breeding program, if our aim is to create the pure line, there is a starting some variability with the heterozygosity, but at last we will have only the homozygosity and there will not be much variability. Okay, now see, eventually all the organisms will be the homozygous at the end of the process. Okay, now in a crop breeding, the parents of the cross usually differ in a large number of gene pairs, and this number will influence the number of generations of the self fertilization necessary for the hybrid population to reach the homozygosity. See, we have rightfully described at the beginning that from the heterozygosity we have to go for the homozygosity. Okay, now to create this homozygosity, how many generations will be required there? It will all depend on how much contrasting genetic pairs are there, because at the subsequent stage we want to remove the bad genes or the genes which are not very useful for the human beings, and how many subsequent generation will required, it will all depend on how many gene pairs are there which are undesirable. Okay, so if the gene pair of the undesirable character are more in number, they can create the more number of they can take the more number of generations to reach to the homozygosity. And if the number of genes are very less which are giving the undesirable characteristics, then within a few generations we can reach to our desirable plants. So how much difference is there within the gene pairs in the earlier variable population? Depending upon that, the process will take longer time or shorter time. Okay, so basically the number of genes which are different from each other will really matter into this particular process. Okay, now see, at this point of population, it would be heterozygous. Okay, earlier the population will be the heterozygous population, and it is composed of a large number of different homozygous individuals. Okay, for example, the homozygous individuals are produced through this process, but still they will have some genetic differences with each other. Now see, the degree of homozygosity of the hybrid population depends on the number of independent gene pairs which the parent differ and the number of generations selfing since the hybridization. So basically, the number of independent genes which are present alone within these plants will make them a slightly heterozygous group. But majority of the genes, as they are similar in all of the population, hence we are saying we are moving towards the homozygosity. But there are still the individual genes are there within these plants which can be differ from one another. Basically, in the pure line methods, what we do, we tend to retain the good genetic characters or good genes. Okay, we want to retain the good genes, but there will be some of the genes which are not expressing within the plant body, but they are still present. Okay, and that is why such genes can differ from plant to plant, although it is not expressing itself. Basically, unlike the plant tissue culture where we produce exact clone of the parent plant, this is not the case here. Okay, what we are doing here is only retaining some amount of the good genes. Okay, we are not copying the genes as it is into the next generation, but the genes are whatever the genes are there, we are trying to retain that genes as it is to the next generation. But there will be definitely there will be some of the differences which will make them slightly heterozygous, but majority of the time, or for maximum, they are the homozygous because their genetic characters are matching. You can say 70-80% they are matching, but still there is 10 to 20% difference at the genetic levels in these newly created pure lines. Okay, while whatever the pure lines we create in the plant tissue culture, they are completely clone of each other. Okay, there is no difference in their genetics, they are completely 100% matching with each other. But this is not the case in the plant breeding program. In a pure line selection, what we are copying is the common genes which are present between them and which are very useful from the human point of view. Okay, so this is how we can select the pure line genes, and these are pure line genes. After selection, finally they will create a generation which will be very homozygous and very useful for the human point of view through the plant breeding program. All right.